Let's rewind it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we got Conejo. He ain't Conejo yet. He's the guy. He's the guy skating. He's the guy tagging. He's the kid doing that, right? You're still. I mean, eres desmadroso, way. But you're still a good kid, let's say.
Yeah.
Where did that transition go to? Where now you're Conejo from Harpies, homie.
Okay. There's this little. I'm not gonna say who did it, but there's this little liquor store right there on 24th and Catalina. It's called Sun Moon. So we used to smash pennies all day con un big ass sledgehammer and play video games all day with smash pennies. So we'll be right there all day, you know. Y también ahí llegaban los homies that later became the homies. But everybody will be in that little liquor store playing video games, you know. So una vez estamos ahí y llegan unos enemies y se meten buscando los homies. And we're right there, and they just socked us out right there. So right there, it was just like, nah, fuck this. I just walked straight to the spot and was like, nah, that's it. I want to get in. And they just.
Did you have long hair when they socked you up?
Nah.
You already started to cut it down a little bit?
Yeah, I already. Because I remember there was this one time that I had long hair, right? And my mom hated it. So she was like, I had tengo un montón de primas que they all tienen estéticas. They all cut hair, right? So my grandfather grabbed me, they tied me with the extension cord, and they cut my hair. And pues I was a kid, I was crying, I was mad as fuck. I told my cousin like, te voy a matar, pendeja.
You're pissed.
You know, cause that was the shit. Like back there, everybody had long hair, like, you know?
Right.
And then they went to like, a lot of people that had long hair went down to the ponytail. They're like, fuck it, I'll get rid of this and just leave the ponytail.
The rat tail back there.
So there was homies that had long ones, like, you know, like that was the shit.
I remember that, yeah.
But yeah, cuando I got in the hood, yeah, fools were just already like, fools were going to juvenile hall, yeah, fools were getting like la tres. That was like, oh shit, se cortó con la tres. Yeah, to get the one, it was like, man, this fool's fucking bananas.
He's with it. He's with it, homie.
Yeah, este güey está loco or some shit, you know?
And who gave you your name, Conejo?
You know, it's crazy because when I got put on the hood, me sound little tricks. There was a big tricks.
Okay.
So I remember in the riots, I was already like I wasn't liking it because I was growing up already. Because the riots, I think I was like 16 or 15. I don't know if I don't know. We gotta do the math. I don't know, but I was around that age where I was just like, nah, that shit sounds too childish, you know. And I was already, you know, writing on paper, Conejo. This shit. Pero ya había más conejos. There's another Conejo that's like, I would say he's probably like, I just turned 48, man, he might be 58.
Right.
I'm thinking. And he was one of the football players, Conejo. And then había un veterano Conejo y luego otro. So there was already Conejos, but
yeah, there's a few.
So I remember that riots when the LA riots happened.
Yeah, 92.
Había una carnicería right there on the corner of Hoover and 23rd. Right here's Arco, and on this side of the street. Y había una de esas donde where you fill up the water, los estos. Y me subí arriba and I caught a spot where I knew they weren't gonna paint it. And that was the first time, you know, Conejo, HPS, DE. So, and the homies were like, man, who the fuck is that? And, you know, but, you know,
and that's where it was born.
I ran with it right there, you know. And
so you gave yourself the name Conejo pretty much. Yeah. That's right.
So
after you, now you're in the hood and all that, where does your kind of rap career kind of begin?
We got to rewind.
Let's rewind.
Okay. Cuando breakdancing was in.
Right.
I wasn't a good breakdancer, but I could rap already. I used to mimic whatever, no matter what it was. I used to mimic it. So when we'll be right there, like my little crew would be like, hey, aviéntate esa. So I'll just like spit some shit like whatever, if it was Houdini, the LA Dream Team, whatever,
that's
you know.
Right.
Kumo D shit and like, antes no había East Coast, West Coast, you know?
Right.
And then I think, that's the thing that separates me from a lot of the homies that rap, because my foundation is way different than theirs. These homies came in the game with Chicano rap. Esa madre ni existía. Right. Me, I was just rapping. I didn't even trip on that fucking title. That's just a title, you know, but me, I was just making music. Y my foundation, I came from like battle rap, underground hip hop. I always been on like, because antes digo que no había, there was no sides. Most of the homies that, era cuando ya había West Coast, and they're like, the DJ Quick MCA pa acá, aquí me quedo. And they won't listen to Gangstar. So we'll be in the hood driving around, and we love Gangstar. Like me and Veneno, we love Gangstar. Like just to get a rep and all that, you know, all these songs, like the beats were just like, to me, they felt like the hood.
Absolutely.
They were just like, they weren't like, you know, the beginning or whatever became G-Funk or whatever. G-Funk existía. DJ Quick was that sound. Right. They developed into that, you know, above the law. And we used to hear all that shit too, you know, pero I used to rap. I'll write my own little raps, I just write raps like long. I didn't even know about 16 bars.
Right.
So entonces, fast forward a little bit, yo todos los neighborhood parties, all the backyard boogie shit, yo agarraba pinches instrumentals, whether it be, I remember the ones I used to use all the time was X-Clan. Because X-Clan had those like Parliament,
yeah,
you know, George Clinton.
Banging.
They were banging, right?
Yes.
And then
a lot of people don't know about X-Clan.
Yeah, they don't know about that. And then entonces I would like those and I would rap. Y me acuerdo que so un día, en esos días, to the hood, pues llegaban todas las de Florence, todas las de West Side Playboys, y llegaban las de Easy Riders, all the females, right? So las de Easy Riders, one of my other bros was dating one, pero she wasn't there that day. So la que llegó, she was dating, you know, Chino from Escala?
Yes.
Okay, Chino was from, this how I met Chino. This how it all started for me.
Shout out to Chino, man.
Shout out to the homie Chino. And so she was dating Chino, right? I didn't know this. So I got off the mic, me and Veneno got off the mic. Homie's like, hell yeah. So Ramos raps like custom made, where we shout out all the clicks and a certain homie or whatever, right? So she walks up to me and me da una little card. Y en esa card estaba un B-Boy, decía B-Boy Records. And she's like, hey, my boyfriend has a record, she said a record store, but I heard record company. I was like, oh shit, really? I made it. Me dio una card, I'm like, I made it, that's it, I'm gonna get a record deal. So le marco, I called the number on the card, y me contesta Chino. So he's like, hey, pull up over here to 900 East 1st Street in the Loft area in downtown over there. Es donde vivía su boy, que became the DJ of the Black Eyed Peas. I'm gonna motivate. They were in LA High. Like LA High was like the hip hop scene in LA, like for schools, you know? Like those schools in that area, which is this area right here almost.
They were popping.
Because LA High is not too far from here. Y entonces he's like, come through, rap. So I go, vamos yo y Veneno, right? Todos mis pinches raps, little notebook.
Ready to get put
papeles
on.
doblados, all kinds of shit, right? Y estos ways, they don't have shit. They got a little tape deck with a fucking cable and a mic. So estamos ahí rapeando y nos están grabando, right? Y ya, and then me acuerdo que that shit turned into like 3 to 4 hours. Smoking weed, we're chilling.
And this was the first time you ever met Chino.
That's me, and he's from 18, you know. But
yeah,
but right there, that didn't matter.
That's right.
Because that area's always been like artsy people. So everybody right there is just like you're an artist right there. That's I mean, like literally, like you're an artist, you're painting, you're a musician. So that was my introduction to that world where I was like, oh shit, it's cool right here. The hood ain't that far. Fuck it. So entonces me acuerdo que when I'm leaving, le digo a Motive, le digo a los dos, le digo, hey, but, because I was rapping on fucking instrumentals again, right? They had me right there rapping on instrumentals. Like, hey, but how do you make a beat? How the fuck you make a beat? I want my own beat, like an original beat. And they're like, they hit me with the bad news, like, nah, well, you're gonna need about like $3K, because you gotta buy a sampler, you gotta buy this. But I'm like 14, 15, maybe 15. Another thing I was gonna turn 16. It's like, all right, cool. We start robbing, puras 211s, haciendo robberies, pero we would never come up. It would be just enough to get some Cortezes, get las Stanfords,
stay fly, fool.
Stay fly, and just no. The
JCPenney shirts,
no, yeah, no se hacía. Y entonces, de hecho, we'll go to the JCPenney right there in North Hollywood and put on like 6 shirts, a gang of them, and then leave with a gang of white shirts on. Like, open up a gang of packs and just put them on and take off. And we're in this dead end, right? One of the dead ends where we kick it at, which is viene siendo la Adams and Juliet. And fools already had Daytons on their cars back then.
Right.
So this is like 4 a.m. We're in there like, todos los que don't go home.
Yeah.
Todos los ways that don't go home.
Holding it down in the hood.
Yeah. So we're right there. Y pinche Camaro goes down the dead and fucked up. Era como un IROC. Gold Daytons. Se mete esa madre and they're like, they go all the way to the end. They're like, fuck. So they start, so in chinga, we like push the big trash can. We block the street. And we was like, hey, bájense a la verga. So we get these fools off, all cowboys. So we arrest these fools. We have them on the wall, todos acá.
So we arrest these fools.
The homies take off in the car. y nos dejan a nosotros. So because I was a kid, so they like, the homies sort of like got us, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So we're like, nah, these foods are ours.
You take the car.
These foods belong to us. So we get these foods for bracelets, chains, these foods walked away in socks.
Vámonos.
The hats, all that shit, los cintos, todos. So ahí es cuando, then I hit them
That
up.
was
and
the
I'm
link
like,
that helped you out right
and
there.
I was like, hey, let's go shopping. All right, cool. Fuimos, bought a sampler, 4-track. It was a Tascam 4-track demo, microphones, headphones, cables.
That's
all right, now make me a beat. Y ahí empezó todo.
You invested.
You invested. I invested in that shit.
So you brought it back to Chino, or what'd you do?
No, not to Chino, to Motivate.
Okay, to Motivate.
Chino, really, he didn't have a record company. He had a record store on Slauson.
Yeah, he had the store.
He had the store. So Chino, he'd come through all the time. We'd smoke weed on the roof. And then, and you know, I'd ask him and shit. And he would ask me about the homies, so he knew the homies. You know, because también the homies would go to LA High, even though they'll fight, but it was more different.
It wasn't as violent.
It wasn't, you know, there could be.
They probably, some of them even knew each other from elementary school and a little bit different stuff.
So Chino was just like, he was just tripping. He has all the original demo tapes. Él los tiene todos, los
Really?
cassettes, all the originals. He has them. So fucking, y de ahí pues ya empezó todo. So we record, like, okay, it was right there on 900 East 1st Street. So we'll be in the hood, and like me and Bandit, que es one of the oldest bros, he'll be like, hey, wey, low key, vete pa allá, wey. I'm gonna pick you up. Because the homies will wanna come, you know? So we'll just jump in the car, we'll go to Motivate, start working on beats, recording, you know, that was the initial demos. They're out there, they're on YouTube. Fools had put them out there.
That's right.
Those are all the originals.
I want to read a passage from a reporter in the 90s out in your hood, right?
Yeah.
Let me read it to you. I want to know what your take on this.
All right.
In the late 1990s, reporter Hector Becerra described the Harpies gang, and I quote, like the winged mythological monsters they are named for, with a dubious power to spoil whatever they descend upon, the Harpy Street Gang has soured the lives of residents and merchants in the neighborhood.
I mean, I think that happened in every hood. You start victimizing your own community at some point, because at first you're there, but then.
But is that how violent and how treacherous it was in the hood?
In the hood, it was violent. Like fools were dying like nonstop. Like there's even like conspiracies that cops were killing homies. There was like, you know, there's like a one time where the way they hit the homies standing in 3 different locations, all were like headshots. Like there's no way fools knew how to shoot. Like there's just, I mean, I don't know. LA was just it was a different, it was like, I heard the homie say that one of the homies that raps, he said that shit's like mother nature and shit. Like, you know, shit's not right, shit's out of balance, se traga what it's got to, then it like reinstates itself, you know? And I think like, I mean, but see, even though he says that, when I was living that, I didn't feel it like that. I probably would have heard that and would have been proud of that shit back then.
Of course.
I would have been like, hell yeah, look, they saying we the craziest, you know, out here or whatever, you know, or anything, any kind of attention that we would get back then would be like homies cutting that shit out, or, you know.
And what do you think so many youth in that time were joining all these street gangs and doing all this stuff? Was it for the attention, recognition?
I don't know. Attention or recognition.
You ever thought about that?
I mean, you know, it's kind of cliche what I'm about to say. You know, like fools will be like, nah, well, you know, all that, the recognition, this and that, the females, the camaraderie or lo que sea. But that's your neighborhood anyway. So it's like, oh, and then this is the gang from here? Okay, cool. And you kind of like, because I remember being a little kid and being like, Harpies, a little kid, because they were there. They were my neighbors.
Right.
You
they
know,
were already established.
I remember when they beat on my manager at los apartments. Los Harpies had a ditching party, y el güey vino a tocar because they were making noise, and they opened the door and just knocked that fool out.
That's how it was.
Y they like growing up right there, pues, por decir, we'll be in the hood, we're kids. Oh, okay, we'll spot some fools que it's from some other place. We'll go tell the homies right away. Allá están estos güeyes. What? Where? Over there. What they wearing? What they in? What, you know? It's just, I don't know. So I don't know if I mean I would have been proud of that back then.
I bet. No, I think any hood would have been. To be realistic, any hood that got any kind of piece, like you know how Fox News you do all kind of things. They still do. Anybody comes on that, you're like, oh, the hood's on the news,
the
right?
homie, or they see footage of a homie or some shit.
I think when they try to downplay it, they don't know that they're actually kind of glorifying it much more.
Yeah, it's similar to that one with the two little kids from Content Viral Tortilla Flats when that came out.
Sure.
That was like huge.
Yeah, everybody wants to see it, and all of a sudden they're talking about that hood, and it gives them that recognition. It gives like free advertisement for the hood.
Free advertisement. So, I mean.
But I just said more so people kind of realize the life that you live, the hood that you live, the barrio that you're from, that it was very treacherous, and that's it was like other cliche, a product of your environment.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that when you're like living it, I mean, I didn't notice that. To me, it was just like
it's normal.
Like Friday, you're getting ready, you know, estás planchando.
Well, talk to me about that, homie. Talk to me about the estilo back then when you're getting ready on a Friday. How was that?
Fools were G'd up back then. Like us, like the hood, like we took like the homies. They were like fucking fashionistas, la neta.
Fashionistas.
Like they took pride
before there
in
was
that
a fashionista on Instagram. Homie.
Yeah. So they took pride in that shit. You know, like a lot of my homies, I feel like they even set trends and just like the way they dressed and everything. You know, like they even brung some shit back. Que already had died out. Whether there be the little V-necks, you know with the sleeveless ones,
for
or
sure.
whatever. You know, but you know, you just because back in the day in the hood, like. The homies were like if your shit wasn't brand new, they'll clown the fuck out of you. Your shoes gotta be brand new. The little piquitos gotta be like white. That's like con un toothbrush. If you didn't have brand new ones, you have to have a little toothbrush making your shit look right. And your white t-shirts gotta be white. Cause if they dingy, te dan un chingo de carrilla.
Sí,
be like, este güey qué? Esa madre donde salió?
Homies would fucking would iron their boxers back in the day.
Yeah. The boxers. And like us, like we would wear 2 white shirts. That way it looks whiter. You put one under so it looks like whiter. You know? And then like the Cortezes, like we'll get like socks and then we'll put it like right here under the tongue so they look popped up. And it was sort of like a New York b-boy, like, but it was New York Cholo, but you're making them look like puffy, like something like an Adidas would look, but you're just doing it with the Cortezes.
And did you see the trend also that because like you were saying, it went from long hair to slick back hair, and then the homies all became pelones, right?
Yeah.
You kind of saw the whole change in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Y los pantalones bien grandototes, güey.
Bien grandototes. I used to be wearing like 56s,
and
58.
You're still a thin guy, but you were a very thin guy back then.
Yup.
You were the 56 guy?
56.
No chingues, güey, ¿cómo corrías?
Man.
I wasn't running full, I was pulling the strap.
Man, I just was like, you know, we had the little techniques to pin them in the back, para que you don't step on the pants and...
We'll put tape or put little...
we'll stick the little
stapler on there.
Yeah, and just, you know, and I don't know, we just try to look right on the weekends, you know?
It was a different time,
The weekdays is like, también, if something was going on, but you just be out there like,